Morning guys, today we're going to be calculating using unitary proportion, and I'm going to use the following examples to explain exactly what that means. Okay, so let's say Joe buys 2 tickets to watch Celtic. He pays £60 for both of these tickets. How much would 4 tickets cost? Alright, so pause the video if you need some more time to think. Okay, so if 2 tickets are £60, to get from 2 tickets to 4 tickets, all we need to do is double that quantity. If I double one quantity, I must also double the other quantity. So 4 tickets would have to be £120. Right. These multipliers are the same because these two amounts are in proportion. So it's not only in this direction that these multipliers will be the same. What about if I do it backwards? So to get from 4 tickets to 2 tickets, well, I've halved it. And to get from £120 to £60, I've halved it. Okay, so it's not just up or down in this diagram that this works. So think about how I get from 2 tickets to £60. Well, I've multiplied by 30. To get from 4 tickets to £120, I've multiplied by 30. And it's not just in the right direction that this works, it also works in the left direction as well. So think about it, 60 divided by 30 gives me 2, 120 divided by 30 gives me 4. Okay, so when you see quantities like this, where all the multipliers are the same in whatever direction you look at it, we say that these two things are in proportion. So they increase and decrease at the same rate. So they both get bigger by the same multiplier, and they both get smaller by dividing by the same amount. So these two things are in proportion. Okay, let me give you a slightly more challenging problem. Okay, so it's exactly the same problem, but instead of 4 tickets, I've now changed it to 5 tickets. If you would like, please pause the video and try the problem for yourself. Okay, so if 2 tickets are £60, well, we're looking for 5 tickets. The reason I find this problem slightly more challenging is because 2 doesn't go into 5. 2 times by something gives me 5. That something is going to be a decimal number. You could use a decimal, but I'm going to show you a much simpler way. Okay, so instead of trying to get straight from 2 tickets to 5 tickets, why don't we put a step in between that? Why don't we say, well, 2 tickets divided by 2 gives me 1 ticket. So now, if I know that 1 ticket is £30, well, how do I get from 1 ticket to 5 tickets? Well, I would multiply by 5. So 5 tickets would be £150. So because 2 doesn't go into 5, I've just taken it down in order to go back up again. Okay, so what I've just done, I've used something that we call a unitary method. So when we're making trickier conversions, so when your initial amount doesn't exactly go into your final amount, what we do, find the value of 1 unit. So find the value of 1 ticket first, and then that will help you find the value of 5 tickets. Right, and finding the value of 1 unit, I hope we see that this links to that work from last lesson, so when we were writing the ratios in the form of 1 to n. Okay, so let's try a couple of worked examples. Let's say I've got a cookbook and it tells me a recipe. It tells me the recipe for 5 people, and it says that in this meal that I'm trying to cook, I would need 100 grams of egg to cook for 5 people. However, I've got more than 5 people I want to cook for. I want to cook for 7 people. So I'm asking myself, well, how much egg do I need? So 5 doesn't really go into 7. So I'm running into a bit of a problem here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that unitary method that we discussed. Because I can't get straight from 5 to 7, I'm asking myself, well, how much egg would I need for 1 person? Well, 5 people need 100 grams of egg. Think what calculation takes me from 5 people to 1 person? Well, I've divided by 5, which means that each person would need 20 grams of egg. Now that I know that 1 person needs 20 grams of egg, we think, how do I get from 1 person to 7 people? Well, I'd multiply by 7. Okay, and 20 grams multiplied by 7 would give me 140 grams of egg, and 140 grams is my final answer. Okay, please can you pause the video and try your example on the right. Okay, similar question. So in this cookbook, it tells me that 10 people would require 100 grams of egg, but I'm not cooking for 10 people, I'm cooking for 7 people. So let's write down what I know. 10 people need 100 grams of egg. 10 doesn't really go into 7, 7 doesn't go into 10, So it's going to be hard to do this in one step. So let's use our unitary method. Let's work out, well, how much egg would one person need? So to get from 10 to 1, I'm going to divide by 10. Now that I know that one person needs 10 grams of egg, well, to get from one person to 7 people, I'm going to multiply by 7. So 7 people would need 70 grams of egg, and that is my answer. Okay, so please can you find task 1 on your worksheet? So it's very similar to what we just done. So it's finding out how much ingredients you need to cook your meals. Okay, if you find you finished that quite quickly, there is an extension task for you, and on that extension task, it gives you the calculation, and it wants you to think deeply. Okay, so what could that calculation represent? It's like writing a sentence. Okay, so any questions, please just let me know. Thank you very much.